10.
Hey, I am Ozma in the Dark, and welcome to this first edition of Rainbow Shelter News. And I am here. I'm still rocking she, they pronouns, and I am here with Calon. How are you doing, Calon?
I'm doing well, and I guess for those who don't know, I go by she, her, and bitch.
You know what? I too go by bitch.
I mean, is there real? I mean, that's like the only pronoun you really need. Like, just bitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Or the headphones.
It's not a
I'm
bitch.
picking up potential feedback, and my rampant paranoia is as comfortable as not wearing headphones are. I fear for the pickup. So,
I'm not comfortable. You don't have a cat.
You know what? Okay, so it's not my cat. It's my roommate's cat's.
I don't care who the cat doesn't belong to anyone. The cat belongs to himself. This is a communist society here.
Fair. But as for the news, let's break into that. So, first, just to be clear about LGBTQ rants, there are some creative differences. And so there was a sort of unfortunate split. I've talked with Sophia, and I've been on her show, and you should go check out her channel, Sophia Bota. And Christy and Sophia have talked, and they've made up, so, like, everything is fine, but it's, like, the stereotypical creative differences drama that was actually creative differences with relation to news.
Yeah, I'm the real drama bitch.
I mean, like, that's a strange thing that you say that, because I got you onto this show in a dramatic way that did upset Sophia. That was why I was like, oh shit, you know what? I'm just going to let things run as normal last week, and that's why you were on last week.
Oh, fun.
To not...
I do like
football. To not invoke more drama.
I don't even know who Sophia is, but best of luck.
Yeah, no, Sophia's cool. So obviously there's an impeachment trial going on, and, well, it's not done yet. And Trump they're still going over shit, so, like...
yeah, they probably won't.
Did you say they probably won't?
Yeah, they probably won't.
I mean
if we're going by standards, the problem is that the legal test that's used, it's called the Bradford test. It sets the bar so high that you get so many false negatives.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, the reason there's a possibility is because impeachment doesn't require exact legal usage.
I mean, it doesn't, because impeachment is technically not a judicial process.
Yeah.
It's a trial one, but the way the Republicans are going to frame it is as a legal one, or at least try to frame it as. They're going to say...
I mean, probably. Although, they are getting the imagery of reminders that there are a bunch of people shouting to hang Mike Pence.
Yeah, but if they had a soul... Yeah, but that seems like have a soul, which, like... These are Republicans we're talking about.
I mean... I can't... Look... One or two of them might have a soul, given that... Well, I mean, there were Republicans who went along with the impeachment.
Okay, I mean, sure, but it's politically expedient for them to do so if they ever want to work with Democrats. If you probably look at the districts that those Republicans control or were sent to represent, they're probably near Democrat districts, which are a lot more centrist.
Okay, you are bringing up good points and good facts that I didn't think of. I didn't factor in. Okay, you might have tempered my desire and hope for Republicans, for there to be Republicans with a soul, or at least like half a sense of self-interest.
It's all about...
Or sorry, self-reflection, I should say, not self-interest. They've got plenty of self-interest, not a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah, no, they don't have any. If they had self-reflection, they wouldn't be Republicans.
Ouch. True, but ouch.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everyone, I do have Asperger's, just so everyone knows.
I, too, am on the autism spectrum. I almost got diagnosed with Asperger's, but I was... I didn't go to a therapist enough, or the psychiatrist. I think it was the psychiatrist that almost diagnosed me with Asperger's. And instead I didn't get my autism spectrum diagnosis till later.
Lovely. I got mine pretty early on, actually, in my life. And funny thing is that the doctors, I wasn't. So the weird thing is, I wasn't told I was actually diagnosed with autism until much later in life. I'd always thought that the doctors just simply said I was autistic, but never formally diagnosed me. But apparently they did. So, yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. So, recently, Cian Barry apparently has been fighting for trans rights, or just generally the Green Party in London to actually accept trans people for once, because they've had a problem. I mean, hasn't the Green Party in the U.S. had a problem as well?
Oh yeah, Green Party here in the U.S. sucks. It's run by an anti-vaxxer.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck that.
Here's that people don't tend to think about when it comes to third parties. It's not just that the system is set up against third parties, it's that all the third parties that have any sort of popularity in the US suck. Like you have Gary Johnson, who literally supported ending public schooling.
Yeah, no, that bad. That's...
And then you have the anti-vaxxer, who had all these policies that were like ultimately detrimental to the environment. It's like, no, none of you fucking people have nuance,
yeah,
or like a brain. And so those parties which do tend to be popular, like the Libertarian and the Green, can't get in also because they suck. John Oliver did an excellent episode on them during the actual election. It's like, yeah, so before we can like think third party, we kind of need a decent third party. I'm personally partial to the communists, but I have my reasons for being so.
Yeah.
I'm a filthy...
I would prefer socialists, but that's me. Anyways. Oh, gone?
We're all going to end up in the same place anyway, which is a communist government, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, you say that, but more likely for us to end up in some sort of anarchistic government of some sort.
I mean, yeah, probably.
Anyways,
I mean, ultimately, that is the ultimate goal of communism: is to end up in an anarchistic government. Though that's the whole thing. That's
unfortunately, a lot of the people who call too many of the countries who called themselves communists didn't really follow the principles, and now it's hard for people to cipher it out, which is why socialism doesn't have as much stigma as communism as a concept.
It actually failed too. Like The Soviet Union never actually managed to get to the final stage of communism. Clearly, now they're fascist.
I mean, some of the base forms, the base principles. I can't remember if I think Lenin. What? Fuck! Someone was like actually afraid of doing one of the important steps.
Probably Lenin. So the thing is that Lenin, where he fucked up. Aside from dying and letting Stalin get in charge, which, by the way, Stalin was actually put in charge against Lenin's wishes. Fun fact.
Yeah, I know. I do actually know that. Fun. Yeah, no, that's yeah.
But anyhow, the problem is that Lenin skipped a step. Russia was not an industrial power at that point in history. It was an agrarian society with a czar. And instead of going through the industrialization process, which, by the way, Stalin forced them into the industrial age, and the results were horrible. Lenin decided to try to skip that stage and went into vanguardism and slowly tried to convert them into communism. But they didn't jump right into communism. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so essentially I hope that the Green Party leader in the UK can weed out some of the transphobia. It'd be nice.
I wouldn't put too much faith in the Green Party in the UK.
I mean, they've had terrible people.
Last I recall.
Yeah, well, I mean that's part of the reason why, because there's backlash in December when Catherine Bristow got into the co-chair of the Green Party in the UK. There's backlash from there's transphobic backlash from the Green Party in the UK, which is why Cian Berry is stepping up to try to kick out the transphobes from the Green Party. But yeah, I don't know how successful they will be.
Purge isn't there?
Sorry, what?
So there's nothing like a good old fashioned party purge.
Sometimes not. Depends on the framing.
But jokes aside, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm more excited about Abigail coming out.
Abigail.
Mm-hmm. A philosophy too.
Oh yes, we never got a chance to talk about that. Yeah, no, Abigail came out a few months before that. Sterling came out. It's been an interesting time of YouTubers coming out. That said, I haven't watched that video. I'm like the worst trans person ever. Like, I avoided any sort of community for years and years, and then started last year or the year before. I started to get myself involved in trans Twitter. So it's just yeah.
It's a little bit better than atheist Twitter, I will admit that.
Yeah, well, atheists, the atheist community split because of transphobia.
Because of transphobia, well, also because of the left-right split. Funny fact, when you talk within the atheist community and you talk to atheists, usually it takes maybe about 5 tweets before you can pretty much determine whether they are on the left or on the right.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
And if they talk about sports, then you can automatically assume they're on the right.
I mean, so almost guaranteed. Obviously, my roommate Safara's did a YouTube video about sports that was, without talking about trans women directly, was pointing out all the aspects of why transphobia, it should be fine for trans women to be in women's sports. Mm-hmm. It essentially, Savaris did a good job of not talking over us while pointing out how wrong that rationality rules was.
No, if you support trans women in sports and you're arguing about that, then that's fine. I'm just talking about those who constantly keep bringing it up as an issue.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if they're bringing it up as an issue at all, like, chances are they are either transphobe or willing to accept some amount of transphobia in their community.
Which there isn't really a distinguishing. There is no distinguishing at that point, to be honest. Yes, I am a bit radical. Hi.
I mean,
just a little bit, though. Not too much.
I mean, fair, but also, like, you're a good person to talk with.
Occasionally.
I mean, at least you aren't a tanky.
You know, I used to be a Trotskyist.
I don't know what that means.
So Trotskyism was the idea of it's a bit of an off-com thing, and basically the idea is, instead of looking for enemies inside the revolution, you turn the revolution and you start like spreading it as much as you can, like constant revolution kind of thing. Fun times, by the way. But anyhow,
yes.
So yeah, Abigail came out, and
no, that's nice. It's I mean, you probably follow the YouTubers far more than I do. That was another part of the reason, because like that I asked you, partially because you're cool to talk with, and partially because you know more about like half the shit that happens in YouTube. I only know about the Sterling coming out because that was like one of a handful of YouTubers I followed.
Okay, this is fair. Yeah, I tend to also stick. For those who don't know, by the way, I tend to stick around the polytheist community because I'm pagan.
Yeah.
And by the way, there are a ton of trans people within paganism. Like, I don't think a lot of people, especially like atheists who are outside of paganism, realize how many of us there are. Mainly because, well, in part because Abrahamic religion, well, say Abrahamic doesn't apply to Judaism.
Yeah, no, that's the interesting thing. It like Christianity is like the big thing. So like, I was born and raised Jewish. I'm an atheist. The traditional atheist, not an anti-theist, and like my parents delved a little into some of the aspects of paganism out of curiosity, and I definitely have some. I have at least one IRL friend who's a pagan. Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. We're all over the place, and like, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, there doesn't seem to be it in Judaism as much. I mean, granted, you still have the Haredim, who, well, they are who they are.
Well, but and Orthodox, there's like, about half of the Orthodox Jews are busy either sucking the dick of the Republican Party or Israel.
Yeah.
Or both.
Well, I don't tend to like to say Israel personally, because like it can be a little bit, the language around it is a little more complicated.
True. That's true. Sorry, the Israeli government, I should say, because a lot of it is the people in Israel And the Palestinians, there are a lot of Palestinians in Palestine who want peace, but both the governments of both those countries suck ass.
Yeah, I actually tend to use the term Likud.
What term?
Likud. That's the name of the ruling party within the Israeli government.
Oh yeah, I forgot. See, like, this is one of those things where I think Sophia's more aware of the various governmental bodies in Israel. I know there's a more anarchistic party in Israel. I forgot the name of it.
About the Knesset. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which is basically like their main sort of like Senate, if you will. It's where the parties go to meet. And the main party that's the problem is the fascist Likud. And yes, they are fascist, very much so.
Yeah, and yeah, because they've done several things to stop voting. But
inflating tensions with Palestine.
Yeah.
Using various right-wing rhetoric. Wedwick. Yeah, I'm just going to start using that.
That's how we say it now.
Exactly, yes, Wedwick. But, yeah. I think I don't know, do they participate in pinkwashing? Because that's another thing they tend to do as well. Since Israel actually tolerates us.
Yeah. I don't know. That said, out of curiosity, was Abbey's that was received well. Abbey's coming out, right? Or was it not? Okay.
There are a few people who kind of like fucked up a little bit when they like I think Xander Hall said something about it, like oh, I always knew, and
yeah, fuck Xander Hall.
Well, I mean, as much as Xander Hall tries to be a trans ally, he still has this one disease called being cis.
I thought it was his ego.
Oh,
I thought that was his disease.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, like for all of Xander Hall, like for those who also don't know, I don't hold as much animosity as others do towards like the dirtbag left.
I don't actually either. I just like to, admittedly, I mostly just like to shit on Xander Hall, because I think it's funny that I got blocked from his Reddit because I made fun of him attacking Dusty Smith with a shitty argument and then immediately failing the argument. Because Xander Hall talks himself up, I didn't think he was going to immediately block me necessarily.
I mean, that's kind of I will admit that is kind of funny. But anyhow, yeah, like Xander Hall said something stupid about like, I figured she was like trans or something like that. It's like nice slip up. But yeah, no, I don't hold as much of a grudge, mainly because I see the dirtbag left as a useful tool to get people into the left.
Yeah, no, I see your point, and sometimes it's just, sometimes people are wrong and are bad and are making effort to improve, and sometimes people I tend to watch a bit more. I tend to be more sus about Xander Hall's ability to not stay in this like weird, not great area, whereas like from all I've been aware, as much as Vosh has fucked up, he does seem to make some effort to improve, although he still needs to work on some of his stuff. I mean, we can all improve as people.
Vosh amuses me personally.
Sorry, what?
I said Vosh amuses me.
Yeah, no, my roommates watch Vosh a lot. I'm less interested.
I find him and his theatrics to be funny. To me. I know it's not a take one here would agree with, but I also, like, here's one thing I think kind of is an issue with, like, the left is that we get too myopically focused on just one individual, when really we should be focusing on the systemic issues that we face.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there.
So, like, to me, Vosh is, like, for example, just one individual who is entertaining, but, like, him fucking up isn't, to me, like, the equivalent of, like, going out and being called a tranny because, you know, transphobes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or and the sex abuse that trans sex workers face.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they stopped that law, the walking while trans law, recently in New York.
Lovely.
So they got rid of that law. So yay for getting rid of one element of transphobia. I had more news than I was expecting, but admittedly, this is the first episode, and we're still feeling each other out. And there was a lot more philosophical conversation than I expected. But I would like to end it on at least one nice note, which is that Pedro Pascal has been really supportive of his sister Lux coming out, which is just like it's nice. A lot of the celebrity acceptance, because it's a lot that's a lot more visible, and the more visible the acceptance, the more likely people will go along with it or think about, like, you know, being a decent person.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, it also helps normalize transness.
Yeah.
Which is something that we need.
Yeah.
And that's why also, for example, like, when I see certain people, like, bashing trans celebrities, I'm just like, has the person come out as, like, a true scum? No. What's your issue with the person? Oh, they're rich. It's like, yeah, and there's something to be said about the intersectionality there. On the other hand, though, we have to acknowledge that, unfortunately, society is somewhat celebrity-driven, and so the more we can have this normalized, the better all of our lives will be.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that the economic issues aren't real. They're definitely real, and there's something we need to work on, but not all of our issues can be reduced down to the economy.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but also I think people seem to downplay how vital intersectionality is, and that includes, like, people of color, black people, polytheism, atheism, any sort of diagnosed situation that you're in. If you're disabled, you should be accepted. It shouldn't be like an exclusion, hyper exclusionary club, because the fact of the matter is, all of us minorities are, well, we're minorities. We need to work together to get shit done, and we are disenfranchised.
Exactly. And also, like, and this is like, there's another, that reminds me of another funny figure, Peter Coffin. Like, how do you have such consistently bad takes?
Yeah. Don't remind me of Peter Coffin.
Like, it's so bad that he amuses me on the one hand, but on the other, it's like, dude, you have no fucking clue what leftism is, do you?
Yeah, that is one of those things. I think there's just some. I always get concerned that the most important elements of leftism, you know, the whole reducing of suffering is, like, kind of the main point, and you should pay attention to that. And, you know, the other stuff might sound good and intelligent, but because it sounds good or isn't just because it sounds intelligent that shouldn't be the purpose of you being left.
I mean, that's the other funny thing. When you are actually into leftist theory and understand what Peter Coffin is saying, he really stops sounding intelligent. It just sounds really dumb.
Yeah, although obviously with theory, you don't want to go and become the overly theory person who's just like, you're not a real leftist unless you read this book.
Well, yeah, no, I get that, and there is a certain level of gatekeeping that needs to end. But on the other hand, we kind of need the theoreticians in order to operate within formal discourse as well as on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think that, like that some of the stuff can be one
of the first.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is critical reasoning, so people can refer to people who are more knowledgeable or more educated than them.
Yeah. So, like, one of the biggest things I get asked as an anarchist is, well, are there laws on anarchism? It's like, yes, actually there are. There are what are called community standards.
Yeah.
But can be applied. Now, the degree to which they're applied and whatnot is something that can be talked about and discussed, but the point is, anarchy isn't, how the government uses it as just a bunch of people running around destroying stuff and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So on that level, there is an important need for theory and people to be into theory. What needs to happen, though, is that people need to kind of stop gatekeeping. Like, for example, I'll say that Peter Coffin, I don't think he's a leftist. I think he's someone who may have found a little leftist theory and maybe ran with it and had a Dunning-Kruger effect, but even that's me being charitable. If I weren't being charitable, I'd say he's just a class reductionist. He's a class reductionist, blame everything on the rich and not actually fix anything kind of guy. Which isn't really leftism in a way.
Yeah.
If that makes
no, that makes sense. However, we are I mean, technically we're slightly past the end of the time, but that's fine for us to go a little tiny bit past, but we do need to we need to make sure to stop soon so you can get ready for your show, Calon, on Transgardr.
Oh yeah. By the way, how many people do we have in chat? I'm curious.
I don't know because 2 people.
Oh, hi 2 people. Yes, this is me. I'm your nightmare.
That's not true. If you're anyone's nightmare, I mean, they're having a good life, because you're a delight to talk with, Calon.
I can be. Also, the 2 people in chat need to get snakes if they don't have them already. Everyone needs a snake.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I am, at least emotionally, I am a huge supporter of Clarabelle Caitlin, who I talk about occasionally. I'm not even sure if she's... I'm not 100% sure if... I haven't checked her YouTube channel recently, so I don't know if she's done much YouTube. I know she had, like, a couple surgeries or whatnot recently, but she is big into snakes, and snakes are just an objectively good choice, because, I mean, think about it. You can just have a bag in your refrigerator with a bunch of mice, and then, only need to feed them, like, a little bit.
Yeah, but the most important part is they're such cute little dorks. Like, people don't understand just how adorable they are. Like, their little faces and their snouts.
I mean, yeah. Although bats are also adorable, but bats too many rabies bats.
I think, what is it, like, only like 25% of the population of bats actually carries rabies or something like that? I forget.
Only 25%. 1 in 4.
I mean, it could be 50 to 75.
I mean, yeah, but that just seems less likely.
Yeah, no, I forget. I'm probably over exaggerating the numbers, and I'm sure it clipped, and now I'll be called a bat hater.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so, people can find Calon in Transgardr in less than a half an hour. You should definitely go check that out. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this content or you enjoy the interviews going on with the fluid voice, well, conversations going on. It's not so much an interview. Interview's more of Christy's thing. And you can find me, Ozma in the Dark, everywhere, and on the Fluid Voice. And
literally, I looked into the woods, and I just saw Ozma, and I'm like, how the fuck did you end up there? I don't even know where
I mean, I can't be in two places at once.
Yes, you can. You right in my backyard. How you get there? I don't understand this. This is not how it works, Ozma.
And you can find me on Twitter at Talking to Nothing. That's Talking to Nothing minus the G. And you can find Calon. How do you spell your Twitter thing?
It's at Resprit. YRUSBRYD. Resprit. It means spirit in Welsh.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really sweet. And
yeah, my name I chose from instead of is that Calon? Actually means heart in Welsh.
Oh, because you're so heartwarming.
Well, or I'm just so passionate that my heart's on fire and I'll burn people. I mean, what?
Well, anyways, have a good day, and bye.
See you guys.